Slide okay?
Yep,
Yeah.
looks great.
All right. Okay, so your time starts now.
Great. Hey everyone, thank you so much for your time. My name is Taylor. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Chimera XR. We help law enforcement train anywhere, anytime through simulation technology. So as many of you know, law enforcement right now are under increasing public scrutiny over use of force incidents like Breonna Taylor. So even though there are millions of dollars spent every year on training, there are still accidental deaths and poor use of force decisions that are avoidable through better training and better technology. So what we've done is found that virtual reality helps solve a gap in training. My background's in the military, and I've used screen simulators, which are the existing standard in training for law enforcement and military, and those systems do not cut the mustard anymore. So these are new ways we can look at training with virtual reality. In COVID times and travel restrictions, it's a system that can cut through the noise. It still allows for training, even though you can't travel, you can't be in the same room as your instructor. You can connect over the internet through our software and use these systems remotely. It's also a system that allows for more immersive, realistic simulation. So because we are talking about high stress, life and death scenarios that we're training for in law enforcement and military, this is a system which can accurately represent those environments and those situations and give the appropriate stress reactions, the appropriate influences and stimuli for our participants. And comparing it to existing alternatives, existing systems, our system has an immense cost savings, not only in the upfront cost. We're looking at 15,000 base price for our system compared to 50,000 for most competitors, but also in terms of saving on travel costs, saving on ammunition costs and overtime, as we can effect more training and scale better education with less resources. So why are we unique? We're the only system that we see our first responders find easy to use, set up in less than 2 minutes, and anybody, even without technical expertise, can use the system. They don't have to be an expert. Our system has multiple tools to allow for content creation by the end user. So not only can we make content, but our end users can build their own drills and scenarios to practice and train high stress scenarios and high stress situations with de-escalation, communication tools, and use of force tools. We're also a system that's cost effective compared to the big screen simulator systems, which are hundreds of thousands of dollars usually, and it gives high return on investment year on year. So this is what our system looks like. This is our base model, and you can see that all of this is a mobile modular package. We're the only system on the market that has modular firearms and use of force tools. And what that means is we've got a patented several systems which allow to be connected to firearms or tools that the law enforcement community, the military community use, which gives them the option of essentially getting more realism and reusing some of their tools instead of buying complete systems that they don't need. This whole system fits in the case that you see on the bottom left. That case can fit in the overhead compartment on an airplane. That's how portable the system is. By comparison, most systems take up an entire room that are existing right now and they can't be moved, they're immobile. So this is a stark comparison to the current industry. We're the only company in Canada that's doing this, and we're the only veteran-owned first responder VR company. And we've got equity funding, our first round of funding, our pre-seed, $300,000 in January that helped us launch and get into market in February. Within 2 weeks, we had our first sale, which was $31,000 to the RCMP. And that told us right away that after years of working on this project, after years of deliberating on what to do, how to do it the right way, we've hit the mark, we've got product market fit, and the system is working. So upcoming traction, hopefully you guys can see this whole screen. I hope there's some stuff on my side. So upcoming traction, we have already $85,000 in sales this quarter, and that's just the first couple of months of us being after launch. We've got the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the biggest law enforcement agency in Canada, as well as the UK Ministry of Defence. Upcoming, we have 2 visits with the FBI in June, including a visit at Quantico, which we've already talked to them and done a virtual demo. So they're very excited to put the hands on the kit. followed by an internal instructor conference, which is another FBI event, which is not open to the public or any other vendors. We have existing pipelines with US Customs Border Protection, DEA, and other major agencies, as well as international opportunities. So we're projecting $500,000 in sale this year's alone. Traction-wise, other than that, we've got a huge benefit to us, which is that our system has realism and end user in mind. So our system's the only one, our software is the only software in market that has accurate vehicle ballistics, which is hugely important when you're talking about traffic stops and realism. So law enforcement and military need the realism, and no one else is doing this with regards to accurate ballistics, also with regards to multi-user training. So being able to have multiple people in the same networks environment. All our competitors do 2 people. We do way more than 2 people. We're aiming for 40. We're currently sitting around 8 to 10. Our software is also compatible with augmented reality. And some of you may have heard, HoloLens just signed a $22 billion deal for augmented reality with the US military. So because our software is on Unreal Engine is natively compatible with augmented reality, which means we have a vertical we can expand into later in the year. We also have an exclusive partnership with Centrifuge Training, which is a huge company in the States that provides vehicle-based training for law enforcement and have clients like the NYPD, the FBI, many others. So they're helping us open doors. They're also using us, our system, as their exclusive in-training system. All of our marketing so far has been inbound leads. We've not had to pay for any of our leads, which is great. And we've only paid for marketing videos. So our budget is really strong in that area. Here's our plan overall for the next 4 years. So we are looking to do another raise this year because we have a pilot project for the augmented reality version of our software. And this is, again, how we can expand into other verticals. So we're looking to do a seed round this summer of 1 million. After that, we have an artificial intelligence program that we've established. We just need to set it up with a bit more funding and get a few more pilot partners. So that's going to be start up around early 2022. We'll do another raise in funding for 3 million around there in the winter of 2022. That will help us launch our first augmented reality products. After that, we have a maturity of the AI program, which allows for an intelligent coaching system, a complete real training system, something that gives feedback and not only gives the data, but gives their actual machine learning feedback on how they're performing, what they can do to be better. We have plans to be a program of record, which is the gold standard for simulation in the industry, be a program of record in the US military. That's our overall goal for 2024. And that'll be upon maturity of this overall program, integrating these different verticals. Our team is stacked with education and experience in the areas that we need it most. Derek and I both come from a military background. Derek has 17 plus years when he retired in the military. I'm still running at 14, going on 15 years in June. And we both come from simulation backgrounds, but we have very different strengths because Derek has a great small business customer service background, and I have a big focus in training and how to make the right product for the end user. Will Petty has been a big part of that. He's got the experience as well, but he has the contacts that we've been leveraging for training. We have technical experts. We have a software in-house developer who just came on board, and we have international scaling, technology, and marketing advisors. So we're well capable of the task. Against our competition, we have a few big advantages. I mentioned vehicle ballistics. This is the only system that can be used outside, and we're also the only system that has industry-leading partners. Big opportunity. $1.2 billion market today, going to $2 billion in 5 years. Lots and lots of money spent every year on simulation, especially in the firearms component. So we're going after law enforcement first, then the military and the private sector. We have the inside track. So as instructors ourselves, we can see what people are saying on the end user level, which gives us great feedback on what they want, what they like, what they don't like. And if you look on the bottom right, you'll see our name was the first recommendation in this closed group of instructors who are at the highest part of their game in law enforcement. We were the first recommendation for a virtual reality system, even as we just launched a couple months later. So our overall vision, what I want to leave you with, is we plan to create a new subcategory in simulation, which is intelligent coaching systems, because we believe that if we take care of our first responders, they'll take care of us. We have the market to our advantage. We have the team ready to do the job. And we have traction early on in our initial launch. Thank you so much for listening to our pitch.
Taylor, you killed it. Well done. Great presentation. You now have 5 minutes for Q&A. Who has a question for Taylor?
Sure.
I'll jump first.
Go ahead, Daryl.
So Taylor, nice presentation, very interesting company. Can you unpack just for me the hardware versus the software? I saw your ARR chart, that looked really good. Just wondering, are you absorbing the hardware costs or you're passing that on to your end clients? How does that work?
Yeah, for sure. So our margins are between 40 and 60%, depending on what the user picks or what the client picks. So the hardware is baked into that cost. We have a manufacturing partner that does all the hardware for us. We have a fixed cost, so we make sure we don't overrun anything. And essentially, we have a few different package items that they can choose between, and we maintain at least a 40% margin overall.
Matthew, go ahead.
Just to build on Daryl's question, Taylor, so is it a subscription service on an ongoing basis? Is that how it works? Like once the customer's purchased a unit?
So we're seeing that the market has two features. There are people that are now switching to subscription services, but a lot of our clients still want an upfront purchase with minimal subscription or no subscription. So we've done both. We have the upfront purchase that's required. You have to spend at least $15,000 to get one of our kits. If you maintain a subscription after the first year at $1,500 per user, you get access to the library of content that's ever evolving. And essentially you maintain currency with our global marketplace. So we have instructors from across the world that submit content to this marketplace that the law enforcement community can access, which is its own revenue stream that will start next year. But that's the subscription model that they can choose, or they can choose to stay just as a standalone headset after the first year, but they'll get a taste of it for 1 full year and decide after that if they want to subscribe or not.
Got it.
Chris?
Really interesting. If I see police officers with those guns, though, I'm going to be worried. Give me a sense, selling into the public sector is often a nightmare, but you've picked the police, and having served on a police services board, it's probably one of the ones that gets away with a little more lenient procurement. What's your kind of sales cycle? I know you had a bunch of sales in first Q1, but how quickly did those come together?
So the RCMP sale took from start to finish 2 months. So from the time that we initially made contact in December, sent them a kit. They had a kit for 4 weeks. 4 weeks of kit turned into the procurement process starting in early February, confirmed sale in the second week of February.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I think your low price point is the key, right? That gets you through a lot of those boundaries. It's really cool. Congrats.
It also allows us to actually send kits on a demo basis because it's not as much of a risk as if we have a $200,000 kit. So we're the only company in the market that actually sends equipment out for test for 5 days for units to try.
No, really good.
Good feature.
We have time for one more question if somebody has a question.
Yeah, I
Sure.
just want to kind of say something about the content platform. I think that's very smart that you don't necessarily have to create all the content, but allow other people to participate. But how are you going to be controlling, what I call, curation of it? Because if you make it completely open, then people may be submitting low quality stuff versus people submitting extremely high quality things. So are you planning on curating them, or are you planning to just make it as wide as open as a platform? Like, what's your thought on it?
Yeah, so there's kind of 2 things. We're going to have the ability to feature certain content that we've curated, and then there's also going to be the general library that people can search through, because the thing with this system is it's very easy to build your own content and share it. Even if we didn't want them to, they could, and that's by design, because they need to have the access to say, hey, I built this drill, or I built this scenario, I need to share it with my co-instructor. Whether or not there's a middleman and time delay doesn't matter to them, so we want to have both options. But if they log into the global marketplace, it's branded. We have specific brands that we work with, the specific instructors that we trust and work with, and that's how the curated content works.
Well, that was great, Taylor. Thank you. Congratulations to your success to date, and a great presentation. Judges, you have 5 minutes.